My wife cheated on me with my brother, and my parents knew. Post 1. The discovery. I never thought I'd be the guy telling this kind of story. My marriage wasn't perfect. No one's is. But I thought we were solid. We'd been together 8 years, married for 5. We had routines, inside jokes, our favorite takeout place. I genuinely believed she was my best friend. But things had started to feel off. Subtle at first. She was on her phone more, always turning the screen away when I got close. She started working late. Every single week. When I'd ask, she'd snap. "It's just work. Why don't you trust me?" And honestly, I didn't want to be that insecure husband, the one who snoops and accuses. So I dropped it. Until one night, everything changed. She was in the shower, and I was on the couch. Her old iPad lit up with a notification, iMessage. I wouldn't have thought anything of it, except it previewed part of the text. "I can't stop thinking about last night." Red heart. Something inside me just cracked open. I picked up the iPad. Her iCloud was still synced. I tapped the Messages app. And I swear, my hands were shaking before the screen even loaded. What I saw broke me. Months of texts. Flirty messages. Inside jokes. Plans to sneak away for a weekend. Pictures I can't unsee. She called him babe. Said things like, "Picky teen. I wish I'd met you first." My vision blurred. My heart was pounding. I kept scrolling, searching for a name. A clue. And then I saw it. The contact name was Jay. But it wasn't a stranger. It was my brother. My younger brother. The same guy who stood beside me at my wedding. The same guy who'd helped me move into this house. The one I'd shared childhood memories, secrets, and blood with. I felt like the room was spinning. This wasn't just infidelity. This was betrayal on a level one couldn't process. I sat there for a long time, frozen, reading every message, trying to make sense of how the two people I trusted most had been doing this behind my back. 6 months. Maybe longer. When she came out of the shower, wrapped in a towel, smiling at me like nothing had happened. I just held up the iPad. Her smile vanished. She tried to grab it. I pulled it back. My voice didn't even sound like mine when I said, "So, how long has this been going on?" She dropped to her knees, sobbing. She kept repeating, "It was a mistake. I didn't mean for it to happen. Please don't leave me." But how does something like that just happen? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stared at her, wondering how someone I thought I knew so well could lie so completely. That night, I moved into the guest room. I haven't slept since. I don't know what hurts more, losing my wife, or realizing my own brother helped destroy my marriage. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Post 2. The confrontation. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in the guest room staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. The texts kept replaying in my head, like a horror film I couldn't pause. Every, "I miss you," every "last night was amazing," echoed louder than the last. I kept asking myself, how long had they been lying to me? Was every family dinner fake? Every smile rehearsed? In the morning she knocked on the guest room door. I didn't answer. I didn't have the energy. She knocked again. Finally, I opened it. Not to talk. Just to look her in the eyes, and see if she was even capable of remorse. Her face was puffy, eyes swollen. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said. I didn't say a word. She kept talking. "It only happened a few times. It started as a mistake." I laughed. Actually laughed. A few times? There were months of messages. Multiple cities. Hotel names. Jokes about keeping it from your clueless husband. She begged me not to tell anyone. Not yet. That she wanted a chance to fix things. Fix what? My broken trust? My shredded dignity? I walked out of the house and drove straight to my parents. I needed grounding. I needed someone. Anyone. To tell me I wasn't crazy. I sat across from them at the kitchen table, and just let it all out. At first, they were quiet. My mom's eyes darted around. My dad looked like he'd swallowed a stone. Then my mom said something that changed everything. "We know." I froze. "You knew?" She nodded. "We found out a couple of months ago, your brother confessed." I felt like I'd been hit by a train. They knew. They knew, and said nothing. No warning. No late-night call, no intervention. Why? My mom gave the answer like it was perfectly logical. We didn't want to ruin the family. I stood up. My chair screeched against the floor. Ruin the family? Are you serious? They looked at me like I was the one being unreasonable. Like I should have just swallowed this betrayal and kept the peace for the sake of Sunday dinners. That was the moment I realized this wasn't just about my wife and my brother. My entire family was broken. And I was the only one brave enough to call it what it was. I left without another word, checked into a hotel, called a lawyer, filed for divorce within 48 hours. Now, AK. I didn't tell my wife. Didn't tell my brother. I let them find out the way I found out about them. Quietly, suddenly, and without warning. That night, in that silent hotel room, I stared at the ceiling again, but this time, I didn't feel lost. I felt angry, focused. I was finally choosing myself. But deep down, a question lingered like smoke in my lungs. Can you ever forgive a family that chooses silence over truth? Post 3, the fallout. Divorce papers were filed. There was no dramatic courtroom moment, just a cold, quiet signature on a stack of legal documents that used to represent a life. She cried when she got the notice. She texted me from an unknown number. Can we talk? We can still fix this. You're throwing away everything. I ignored them all. What was left to fix? The affair was one thing. The betrayal. The lies. But the worst part? It wasn't just her, everything. It was him too. My brother. My best man. My best man. My childhood teammate. And my parents, who stayed silent while watching it unfold. It felt like I had been excommunicated from my own family. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I refused to pretend everything was okay. People talk in small towns. Mutual friends reached out. Awkward. Tiptoeing around the subject. One guy even asked, "So, is it true? Your wife and your brother?" I didn't answer, just nodded. Then, a few weeks later, a friend sent me something that made my stomach drop all over again. A photo. My ex-wife, and my brother, smiling on Instagram, her hand on his chest, a diamond ring on her finger. The caption. She said yes, red heart hashtag, forever. I didn't know what hurt more, the betrayal, or how fast they moved on. I watched people comment. You two are perfect together. So happy for you. True love always finds a way. True love? How could people celebrate something born in the shadows? Something that destroyed a marriage, a family, and trust that took decades to build? And then it hit me. People only know what they're shown, they didn't know the full story. They didn't see the sleepless nights, the therapy sessions, the hole in my chest that still hasn't fully closed, but honestly, maybe they didn't need to. Because slowly, something inside me started to shift. The pain was still there, raw and real, but it wasn't running the show anymore. I started reading again, journaling. I took up running. I'm not great at it, but the physical exhaustion gave me a break from the emotional kind. I started seeing myself again in the mirror. Not the shattered version, but someone rebuilding, stronger, sharper. Alone, yes, but finally standing. I blocked her for good. I blocked him too. And my parents? I haven't spoken to them since the day they chose silence over honesty. Sometimes, I miss what my life was. The version where I believed in us. In family. In forever. But then I remember. That version was a lie. The truth was ugly. But it was real. And I take real over fake any day. Still, on nights when the silence gets loud, I catch myself wondering. Is it better to be alone and honest, or surrounded by people who lie and call it love? Post 4, The Comeback. 6 months have passed. Half a year since I watched my life fall apart, piece by piece. And half a year of building something entirely new, from scratch. There were days I didn't think I'd make it through. Mornings I'd lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I got here, numb. Empty, like I was just a witness to my own life. But the human heart is strange. It breaks, it bleeds. And then, slowly, quietly, it begins to beat again. I moved cities. I needed to get away from the places where everything reminded me of them. Wheezy. The street where I taught her how to parallel park. Bray, the diner where we had our first date. The house I once called a home, now just a monument to betrayal. The new city felt unfamiliar at first. Cold. Lonely. But every stranger I met was a chance to rewrite the story. New coworkers didn't know me as the guy whose wife cheated with his brother. They just knew me as me. And that gave me space to breathe again. I started going to therapy. At first, I hated it. Sitting in that chair, being asked to feel things I'd spent months trying to bury. But I kept going, and somewhere along the line, it started working. I unpacked years of buried emotion. Not just the affair, but childhood things, family expectations, the weight of being the good son. And the more I let go, the lighter I felt. Then came the update I didn't expect. A friend from back home texted me a link. A Facebook post. It was my brother. Alone. No ring. No smiles. Just a long caption about heartbreak, mistakes, and letting go of what wasn't meant to be. I didn't react at first. Didn't even click on his profile. But curiosity won. Turns out, they're already divorced. She cheated on him. With a coworker. Poetic, isn't it? My mom tried to reach out a week later. Said they were all broken. That they missed me. That family should stick together. I left her on read. Because here's the thing. Blood doesn't excuse betrayal. And forgiveness isn't owed. It's earned. Do I feel satisfaction? A little. I'd be lying if I said no. But mostly, I feel peace. I survived the worst year of my life. I stood alone when no one stood by me. And I came out stronger. Scarred, yes, but standing taller than I ever have. These days, I smile more. The silence doesn't scare me anymore. I still don't know what the future looks like, but I know I get to decide. No more lies. No more pretending. Just me. Honest, whole, and finally healing. And maybe that's the biggest revenge of all. Can true healing begin only after we lose everything? Or did I finally find myself in the wreckage? Subscribe for more videos.